We're going to completely jump off the cliff on this story and just move on to politics. We have this one from Fox News. Karine Jean-Pierre spars with reporters, refuses to answer Hunter Biden questions in testy exchanges. I thought it was interesting because the way it was described to me is that the press corps has completely turned on the Biden administration. I mean, Ian and Benny were both like, it was bad.
Dude, we should watch at least part of the 4-minute video of the reporters, one after the other, picking up where the other one left off. Karine like, I'm not answering that question. What do you want? And they're like, well, I just want to continue with their question. She's like, I'm not answering it. Okay, you. And he's like, I want to continue with the old reporter's question. It was stunning.
But you were saying, Benny, that they're done with them and they're getting pushed out because there's the Hunter Biden story. And then there was, more importantly, the OceanGate scandal, where apparently the government knew for a week that this sub had likely imploded, and they didn't tell anybody.
This is our federal government's version of Order 66. Joe Biden's getting Order 66 right now. If you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. Follow some of the New York Times writers. Follow some of the Washington Post writers. Follow Chuck Todd. We have to do it professionally. I would never recommend you do these things because you'll never get anything useful. What you'll see is the order has gone out. You are now allowed to attack. You are now allowed to ask your question. Why does Chuck Todd, after 3 years, Chuck Todd finally finds this story interesting and he leads NBC Nightly News with a 7-minute episode on this? CNN's reporter at the White House was the one who's the most savage in this video that we're going to watch, hopefully, to Karine Jean-Pierre. Oh, yeah. CNN, New York Times, NBC News, they're all ganging up on Biden. Nah, man. Order 66 went out.
Let's play this clip. Here we go. Oh, it's not working. What's going on?
Dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and the decision-making of why...
CNN asking this question.
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter is his son. I'm just not going to get into it.
Let me ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors 2 days earlier?
A couple of things. Again, that's his son. He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure you have. So that is not
Let's jump ahead.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate...
The United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealing by a son. Is that something...
So they're referring to this text that went out where Hunter was basically like, I'm sitting here with the big guy right now and we'll put all our force against you as you do it.
He says, I'm sitting here with my father. And he says it twice in the text.
Multiple times, yeah.
It's a WhatsApp text, and it has not been refuted. This text seems legitimate.
So his lawyer responded to the text today, confirming, Hunter Biden's lawyer responded to the text, confirming that it was a legitimate text, that the text is real to the communist Chinese apparatchik.
Wow.
And what was the defense? Oh, my client was on drugs at the time.
Sitting next to his father.
I just want to point this out.
I kid you not.
So this morning we did the first of our new... So the idea for the Culture War show was always to be like having the debates that we sometimes have on IRL but don't fit the format. We do topical news here. Having someone on who's going to debate turns into a debate show. So Friday morning will be. We had on Emma Vigeland, and one of the conversations we had was me saying, I don't quite understand why there are so many people on the left who don't like Joe Biden but will absolutely defend him on these scandals, instead of just saying, sure. And for some reason, we got into the argument. And this individual, she was very much like, I don't think it's real. The Burisma stuff's not true. You know, there's no evidence to prove it. Shokin was not investigating Zlochevsky, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, he was. Like, I don't understand. But now I'm wondering if they're going to change tune, these lefty types, now that we're seeing the signal flare has gone up. It is now open season to go after Joe Biden on this corruption scandal.
I think so. This is one of the most jaw-dropping pieces of news media I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it is incredible. Anyone that cares or has been following the Hunter Biden scandal, the stuff with Burisma, anyone over the last 3 to 4 years, watch this video. Watch it from start to finish. You're going to want more when it ends. I don't know if they only got 3.5 out of her, but I mean, this is a tactic that can be continued to be used by the news media until, forbid,
they were supposed to. It's You're right. They're supposed to ask about these stories, but this is the point I was bringing up in the debate show. I'm like, how about if you don't know whether or not Joe Biden did or did not engage in a quid pro quo, you just say, yeah, I don't know enough about that, but I don't like Biden, so I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. How about you just say, I'm not going to comment. For some reason, there's this adamant need among these left personalities Like, I'm not talking about liberals either, like leftists will be like, I don't like Joe Biden, I won't defend him, but this story is not true. And I'm like, you don't know anything about the story. Why are you defending him? This is what we see. It is the establishment narrative line. It is, you are not approved. The New York Times can come out. How about this? Politico magazine can come out and outright be like, the Biden family fortune has tracked perfectly alongside Biden's career in government. His brother getting contracts to do construction in Iraq, things like this. Politico made a timeline of it. And then they come out and say, never happened. And I'm like, I just don't understand this need to be like, no, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Biden's perfect. Now, all of a sudden, with the corporate narrative shifting, probably because they don't want Biden for 2024, now I'm wondering if we'll see these left personalities be like, we never liked Biden. What are you talking about?
That's exactly what's going to end up happening,
Right.
because they consider the mainstream narrative to be their kind of God in a lot of ways. They don't know how to see things through any other lens because they track anything else as propaganda and anything else as anti-establishment, which gets a label of being like it's against them inherently. You can't ask questions honest. They don't think you're asking your questions honestly. They think you're asking your questions to trap them in something because you have your own agenda rather than the agenda of just wanting to know what the hell is going on.
That's a cult, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you're evil and you brought it up, and right wingers brought up that Burisma tape thing. So, like, therefore, it has to be invalid. And you know, you've asked 2 people about this on air, and they haven't seen the video, which is fascinating.
Yeah, every time we ask a liberal or left personality about the quid pro quo Joe Biden thing, fire the prosecutor, not get the $1 billion. This I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I
Or
think-
they
I'm
say
like,
it's
what?
RT, it's RT, so it's not reliable.
But that was just a clip from the CFR. It was like, I
No,
was
it
like,
was C-SPAN.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's bragging
Yeah,
about it.
But if you want to see that clip now, isn't that on like RT?
You can find
that's
it.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
The behavior isn't necessarily solely on the left, but it's a reactionary behavior,
Yeah.
and you can get it from people that are either. It kind of comes from fear. I mean, that's a vague term, but like people that are afraid to be trapped. I think for sure.
I think that's a big part of it. Is like people like you, they feel like you're about to lead them into a corner where they don't have enough information. And so their inherent reaction is to just lash out. Plus, they've had a lot of things held from them for the last 2 years, 3 years, after all the social media networks made sure you didn't know what was going on with Hunter Biden, made sure you didn't know what was going on with Burisma. I know plenty of people who just don't even know what that is, who don't know anything that's going on there.
It's because, but for a public figure or an online figure, agreeing with somebody on the right or the people who shared that Burisma video is worse than the hypocrisy, because who's going to call them out on the hypocrisy? Only people that they perceive to be more on the right than them.
That's a cult.
So, like, they don't see this clip. Like, again, people, prominent news, cover headline news and politics on a daily basis, come on and they say, I've never seen that clip. You had the show with Hunter where he said that clip doesn't exist, and then you
he
played
actually,
it.
Smart was like, that never happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me pull the clip up for you and you can watch it happen. Like, I don't understand. And he didn't know.
And
Like,
for
people
him,
just don't know.
that might be fair because he does more cultural stuff and he admits that. But like
this-
for her,
that-
she does presidential politics on a daily basis, and she's like, I've never watched the clip.
It's a question of why Hunter said that never happened, instead of just being like, I'm not familiar with that, but I'm not going to defend Joe Biden.
yes,
Yeah, I
do
just don't
not
understand
fall
that.
into
This
that
actually,
trap.
oh man, this just happened. Keith Olbermann saying that Hillary Clinton never smashed her cell phones. He just got destroyed. Nancy Mace tweeted,
Yeah.
Nancy Mace, this just happened online for all of us to see, and he got community noted into the sun on Twitter. Nancy Mace goes, well, it's a tweet, and
Right.
please feel free, because it's awesome. It's the best community note ever.
He's like, you know that didn't
Nancy-
happen, right?
Yeah, Nancy Mace is like, Donald Trump gets arrested, right? Classified document thing. Nancy Mace is like, yo, Hillary deleted all these emails and then smashed all of her phones with a hammer. And Keith Olbermann says, that never happened. Duh. And then
That's just lying. That's
When
literally just
did he
that's,
tweet it? Like a couple days ago or what?
It was about a
Yeah.
week. It was at least a week ago now. Like that. The
Yeah.
thing is about that is that's just bad faith. They're doing that because they know that they have large audiences, and there's no way they're going to agree to what you said because that tweet then lasts forever. So they're just lying because it's beneficial to them.
But
so
there's
then he got community noted through the stratosphere with all these links, including a CNN fact check, which is the greatest CNN fact check to ever air ever on any probably the best 60 seconds to ever air on any cable news ever, where CNN had to get fact checked on air that Hillary Clinton did in fact smash all of her devices with a hammer
That was a
from
long
their
time ago,
Supreme
too.
Court reporter. It was great. It was
what's-
Boris Epstein. It's classic.
Have you seen the fact check from one of these websites on that specifically? It's that Hillary Clinton destroyed her devices, and they were destroyed with a hammer, but she had a staffer do it. Therefore, it's like mostly false.
It also like
She didn't acid wash.
She didn't acid wash it. It's like the weasel words are almost unfathomable.
It's like when you make a claim, you better be the most specific as humanly possible. Otherwise, you're a liar. But they can make any general claim, and then it's like, well, it's obviously true about you, though. Like especially if they're accusing you of something.
You're right about specific. It is so important in this age of, if you think we're in a culture war, that you use the right words, that you are very specific.
And then Hillary Clinton, no, I'm sorry, a Hillary Clinton staffer then took a hammer. It was a this ounce hammer, and they smashed it on the ground. You have to literally say the exact thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to use that because they know they don't care if people read the fact check. They just want people to see that there's a fact check on it. False. Partially false.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.